what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down, whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Smokin Toastin radio show and podcast. We are here every week with fine cigars, hand-rolled cigars, fine spirits, and craft beer, brought to you by mycigartshirts.com. Fun shirts and hoodies and whatnot with snarky cigar comments for all you cigar lovers out there. It's not too late to get them for Christmas. Please, if you get a chance, go on there and check it out. So, mycigarshirts.com, because cigars. We are here today with special guest John Denman from Drink of Ages podcast and radio program. How are you today?
Man, I'm actually doing pretty fantastic. I've been excited about this since we talked about it at No Label. You're like, hey, man, you want to come to the show? I'm like, yeah, actually I do. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, we try to have fun over here. So Cruz is out of town this week, so it's me taking over the show, actually. And we're going to see how it goes, since I'm usually the support role and not the main character in this particular play. So today's show is going to have quite a few things coming up for you. We're going to talk about a cigar that I smoked this morning over at Casa de Monte Cristo. We got a few beers on tap for us today, so to speak. I brought the No Label Perpetual Peace, which is a Scotch ale, or wee heavy, if you'd like to call it that, from No Label. Obviously, we had that. That's what we were drinking, I think, when we met a couple weeks ago.
Very large pours.
Yeah,
is how
we
that
might have to
night
try
went.
that one last. I also have a bottle of the Bell's Brewing Batch 10,000. That's fun and interesting. We're gonna try that. And you brought a few beers yourself. What all did you bring today?
Well, actually, I brought a lot. I was over at Spindle Brewery sitting around talking, and so went all the way from stouts, pastry stouts, to kettle sours, to double IPAs, to pilsners, to nice low
we're going to have
lagers.
some of those. Are going to be to be assigned. Those will be instead of teasing them right now, we'll get right into it. We're also going to talk a little bit about drinking news, of course. And drinking news is an interesting story. This is one my wife got for me. I don't have an actual teaser line for it, but
There's a ukulele, though.
But there is ukulele. So today's drinking news teaser is what to do if you're stuck in a pub.
Like
All
overnight? What exactly? What do you mean?
That's why it's a teaser. It makes you wonder what's going on there at the story, right?
I mean, I've been stuck in a pub before.
Overnight?
Overnight.
Nice.
Yes.
I don't know that I've ever been stuck in. I mean, not what you'd call stuck, I think.
Okay, granted, yes. One of the best stuck stories, I don't know if this is what we're going to get into now, but when Harvey happened, and all the people that were stuck at Rudyard's, turned out to be a really fun night for everybody.
I bet.
I heard the stories.
When Katrina came through and everything downtown was completely shut down, everywhere was a ghost town. I actually lived a couple blocks from Rudyard's. And so we went up to Rudyard's that evening, and we pretty much had the place to ourselves. And we were up there for, till closing and whatnot, and then walked, stumbled. We walked in at about 90 degrees like most people walk. When we walked home, we were about 30 degrees off of that,
Yeah, the wind was blowing, right?
a little tilted.
Yeah, sidewalk.
Yeah, that was a fun night. We had a few people staying with us, too, that were worried their places were going to get flooded, so we had a lot of fun that evening. I stopped by Casa de Monte Cristo this morning and picked out a cigar. Sometimes I pick out old favorites that I haven't reviewed on the show. Sometimes I pick out something new. Today I picked out something that's a little of both. I haven't tried this one, but I like Four Kicks. I like Crown Heads as a brand overall. They have pretty solid cigars, and they always have something interesting and different to try. So I picked up a Four Kicks limited edition 2021, which I haven't had. This is a perfecto shape, rustic on the outside, medium brown in color, really lumpy wrapper. Kind of an ugly cigar, actually, if you look at it a little close. Lots of veins all throughout it, soft spots, like inconsistent firmness overall. The Four Kicks band and the limited edition 2021.
We're still talking about cigars, right?
Yes. I don't know where you're going with this. So I Did the pre-light sniff. I got a lot of barnyard kind of scents, earth, hints of mocha at the foot of the cigar. The pre-light draw on this, I used a clip. The draw was absolutely effortless. So between the fact that the draw was completely effortless and the cigar was lumpy and had a lot of soft spots, I was a little afraid it was going to smoke really fast and really hot. But actually, I didn't have any of those problems with it. A little more on that. The pre-light draw, effortless draw, sweet mocha flavors, like a creamy sweetness going on, and tangy leather flavors left on the lips. It was pretty nice. The initial light of this, I got a blast of earth, barnyard, and pepper. The retro hail is pepper and rich soil. In case you're wondering what I mean by barnyard, that's that kind of...
And beer gets described in all kind of ways, and barnyard, horse saddle, all these other terms.
So a little bit of that, but also like fermented hay, those kind of things that you get, you know. That's the first third of this cigar was earthy and nutty with sweet and mocha on the backbone of it. Peppery notes remain constant in the background. Overall sweet, creamy flavor was present. Retro hail was cedar and earthy pepper. Solid ash, perfect burn.
Soft spots didn't really matter.
Yeah, it didn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. Like, it smoked great. It didn't smoke too fast, not too hot. The second third of this was earthy and nutty flavors dominating the palate with mocha and pepper as a foundation. Leathery notes appear in and out to keep it interesting. Pepper and sweetness remain constant. Retro hail is cedar, mocha, and pepper. Solid ash, perfect burn. I didn't drop the ash on myself once during this cigar, so I was pretty proud of myself. The last third of the cigar, continuing with the same flavor profile overall, with a little addition of pepper ramping up a touch, leathery flavors becoming a little more present. Sweetness remained consistent throughout this with slight spiciness in the aftertaste. Retro hail is cedar, mocha, and pepper. Solid ash, perfect burn. This cigar costs $11.
It's not bad.
Not bad. It's in a premium price point right there. I give it a 6 on our price to quality scale. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with our price to quality scale, but this is a sliding scale, and it's price to quality. So it's a 1 to 10 scale, and if you get a 5 on this scale, you get exactly what you're paying for. Less than a 5, it's not hitting where it should for the price point. More than 5, it's punching above its weight class. I gave this one a 6. I think it's punching a little above its weight class, especially since I had not the best expectations just from the feel of the cigar overall, but man, it was a fantastic cigar. It's delicious the whole way through. No problems whatsoever with the burn or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I neglected it at one point in time, and literally just due to neglect, I let it go out, and there was absolutely no relight penalty on it. It was fantastic overall, so highly recommended. This comes in at about a medium strength overall, but if you're someone who smokes a mild to medium cigar, just generally likes more mild cigars, this is a good one to step into. You get a little bit of the pepper and a little bit of the spicy flavors, but it's got this sweetness throughout that keeps it from being harsh ever throughout the whole cigar. I was pretty impressed with it.
Yeah, and I wish I would have joined you.
Right?
Yeah, listen to all this.
Well, the invitation's out there to anybody. 90% of the time I go up there and pick out a cigar and do a review of it right up there before the show. So if anyone's out there kicking around on a Thursday afternoon where they don't have work, or Thursday before noon where they don't have work, come join me. I like to have a lot of fun up there. All right, moving on with the stories. So, No Label. Tom was on a show about 3 weeks ago, and or 4 weeks ago, almost a month ago now, I think, and invited us out to the brewery. He said they were having their anniversary party after I mentioned that I'm a really big fan of barley wines, and he said, well, we're going to have one on tap for our anniversary party. And I said, well, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So I went out there and entertained myself a little bit. He was apparently in a meeting of some sort, and then came out and found me, and was very generous with the beers. I had their barley wine was fantastic. Even though I'm generally not a big fan of American-style barley wines, just due to the fact that most of the time they're too hoppy. This was not too hoppy. It was quite delicious the whole time. We also had their Perpetual piece, which I brought with me today. We'll talk about the flavor profile on that in just a little bit here. But
we're going to just work our way up the ABV
yeah, we
ladder.
We probably shouldn't start with the 12.3%.
How many segments are we doing? Because we start with the 12% or so, then
then the show gets shorter at that point in time.
It just gets better. We could keep going,
right?
Just no telling what's going to come up.
So while I was standing out there having a drink, he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, let me introduce you to some people." And one of the people he introduced me to was John here.
Yes. Yeah.
Sitting there at the table enjoying your drink. You were there with James from What's on Tap as well. And I think one of the other gentlemen that was there was one of the employees.
Let's see. Who all was... I don't remember who all was there. Brian Holson from Channel 2 was there.
Yeah.
Randy. I think Randy Rodriguez was over there for a little bit. Carlos. Good buddy Carlos was there. I don't know. There was people. That table was like a good little center point because everybody just kept coming by, saying hi.
Everybody walked by, right?
Yeah.
And also, I ended up meeting the owner of Valencin's Brewing as well, which I'm not very familiar with, but I will be getting familiar with pretty soon.
That's the closest brewery to my house. So
nice.
I'm
You live on
familiar.
the south side over there.
Yes, very familiar with them.
Very cool.
Really good beers and really good group of people.
Awesome. We're looking forward to that. I exchanged information with him, so we'll be sending him an invite for the show. And he actually invited us to come out there and have cigars and have beers at his place. So that's just probably going to happen.
Be ready for a late night.
Well, we start at 1. Be ready for a late night anyway.
For a late night.
You ain't going home yet.
Nope.
That's pretty awesome. So we got some fun stuff coming up. Coming up pretty soon here on the show. We got, let's see, Cigars in the News. Tampa Cigar Fest just happened. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And Miller Lite Beernaments. They don't even sell beer anymore. They just sell packaging.
Yeah.
Like Mac River doesn't bother with the beer. They're like, it's the same thing you've been drinking, but here's a cool package for you.
Labels are important, but I don't know.
I find it quite entertaining. So we're starting off the beer with a 1980. We've had this on the show, the American Kolsch from No Label Brewing, and it's a nice late beer to get kicked off with. But I would like to go ahead and, you know what? We've got a lot of beers for this show, and it's not normal for us to do a beer in the first, to talk about a beer in the first segment, but we're going to go ahead and kick it off that way anyway. And let's go with the latest thing you brought that's different there. Oh, I forgot cups.
Cups, yes.
I forgot cups. Do we have cups, Adam? Adam's going to come to the rescue. I totally was supposed to bring cups, and I totally forgot them.
We had a Christmas party.
Actually,
luckily we did.
I plan on grabbing little glasses because I was watching the last one Tom was on with the red Solo cups and then the little shot in the middle plastic cups.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Yes. Well, it ended up working out pretty nicely for you guys.
Yeah, it did. It did with the we had that Teeling Irish whiskey, I think, that day, right? Mm-hmm. That was quite good. Look at you guys. Let's go with the clear.
Yeah, if you need more.
And if we need them, we'll go with coffee cups. Awesome.
All right. Well, the first beer, you said light, so good old Proper Pills.
Proper Pills.
Yeah, nice, easy Czech style
so
Pilsner.
We're gonna do a tour of Spindle Tap today, since you just got back. You're doing a collab with Spindle Tap, and we allowed to talk about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I actually do work for them.
Okay.
And so I do a lot of stuff with different breweries, but Spindle Tap's one that I've actually worked with, employed by for almost 4 years now. And, you know, the roles changed over the years and everything, but now it's a lot of label design work and graphics and stuff like that.
So you've been working for them for 4 years. Where did you start off? Where did you start off in the lineup out there?
Started helping them. They needed some assistance in sales. So I know a lot of bar owners and managers and stuff. So I was like, man, I can, I had my own bar, so I really didn't do anything until like 3 o'clock every day anyways. Kids were in school, so I'm sitting around just bored at home. And I'm like, man, I'll help you guys out. That sounds like fun.
Might as well have a job.
And and then once I started hanging out with them, I was like, man, these people are pretty fantastic. Like, genuinely good group of guys.
They got a nice facility out there. You guys have a great facility out there. That whole big outdoor area.
Yeah.
It's super nice. Me and my wife stopped by there. Probably about this time last year. It was beautiful outside. It was a little chilly, and stopped and had beers and just hung out. It was really nice.
We have a lot of fun out there between a lot of basketball, which when I say basketball, I mean like horse. Nobody's really running.
Right.
We did try to play a little basketball the night of the anniversary, which was about a month ago. And my teammate It was 2-on-2, and for some reason, both of us were on the ground. That's why we were looking at each other. I'm like, I'm done, man.
What happened?
Should not even be trying to move right now.
This is called getting old.
Yeah. I think there was probably a lot of beers involved too to get to that point.
Anniversary party?
The anniversary
and
party.
basketball.
Yeah.
I love the combination there. So you started off helping out with that, and then what'd you move to after that? I assume you went through a few steps, or did you just jump ahead?
Well, we had a guy that was doing some great job on graphics and stuff, but I don't know, there was some issues, and they just asked me, I was like, hey, do you want to do graphics? So I did graphics for a majority of my life, graphic design and stuff like that anyways. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So then I just took over all that.
This beer here is it's interesting because the hop profile and the malt profile are right up front, and then it doesn't leave you with a hoppy aftertaste at all. It leaves you with a little sweetness.
Yeah, it finishes nice and clean, but you still get that hop bite.
Just a little, just enough to keep it from being overly sweet. It's interesting.
That's what I like about it. This has really become, between this and Hop Gusher, are the two beers I drink the most at Spindle Tap.
I would assume this is pretty popular on tap.
It is.
Up there,
yeah. This and the Calavera.
And the Calavera.
The lighter, easy stuff.
I have had the Calavera before. The Calavera's been out for a while, right? That one's one of their core beers for a long time. Very cool. I didn't realize you actually worked for Spindle Tap. I did notice you had the shirt on.
I wore the shirt today, represent a little bit.
That's awesome. Absolutely fantastic. At this point in time, we're going to take a very short break. We're going to do I'm really bad at 5-minute segments, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break a little bit early right now. We're going to make that last 5-minute segment into a 10 or a 15-minute segment, so we're going to take them out of the bigger sections.
What the people want, right?
That's right. They want longer sections. So we're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back with more to come. All right. Welcome back to Smokin Toastin. You gotta let that. Sometimes you gotta let that bumper music groove just enough to like get into it.
Yeah.
That's the Suffers. Are you familiar with them?
I am familiar with them.
They're so good.
Pretty wonderful group out of Houston, Texas.
Absolutely, man. That's one of my favorites. If you haven't listened to them, if you're out there, look up the Suffers. They're fantastic. So, Smokin Toastin. Our headline today is Smokin Toastin of Ages. John Denman on the show with us from Drink of Ages podcast. This is a show about fine. I get this almost. Just see, Cruz usually does this stuff, so I have to go through all that. I have to practice. This is what I got to do. So this is the show that's all about hand-rolled cigars, fine spirits, and craft beer. Brought to you by mycigartshirts.com. Shirts and hoodies with snarky sayings about cigars for all the cigar lovers out there. mycigarshirts.com, because cigars. All right, now that's all out of the way.
Someone called me snarky once.
Snarky.
Yeah, it was in a review. It was one of the big festivals downtown. I was emceeing and introducing the bands. I was introducing the Toadies. And I don't know, I was backstage talking to them, and we're just having a good time. And it was like, it'd be funny if I went out there and said that you guys didn't make it. And they're like, oh, that'd be hilarious. And I was like, all right. So I went out there and I was like, guys, I got bad news. But before I do, I'm going to shotgun this more cowbell.
You were talking about shotgunning the more cowbell on one of the shows that I listened to actually just recently.
Oh, that one, it was a bad idea. Because, more cowbell is a good beer, but 16 ounces of it, super cold. Like, my eyes were watering. There's like 4,000 people staring at me. My eyes were watering.
It's like 7 or 8% on top of that. So you're going to feel it.
Yep.
Oh, it's a 9%? Yeah.
And so I shotgunned the beer. Everybody's cheering. I said, but I've got bad news. Toadies didn't make it. And everybody's like, and I was like, I'm just kidding. Here's Toadies. That's all it was, right? Everybody cheered. It was great. Well, somebody wrote a review. It was like, the snarky MC, John Denman.
Snarky MC.
It's like, man, I've never been called snarky before in my life.
It's like almost a bad word. It's not quite.
Yeah, I know. It could have used all kind of other words. Describe me better. Snarky. I don't know.
Smarmy would be
smarmy.
Smarmy would be worse. Snarky is at least a little bit fun, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Wicked Brian showing up on the post, and also Liliana Rodriguez. She's saying, hello, Ian, where's your other half? Well, he is off today. He's out in Austin having fun. He's going to a wedding and all kinds of things like that. So we're making do with John Denman, who is so far taking up enough time to make my job easy. That's all I needed from him.
I don't. I watched a few of the shows, and I definitely do not talk as much as he does. Even on my own show, I don't talk as much.
Well, this show, when we started this show, I had absolutely no experience. I've been a musician and performer for years, but no experience doing anything like this on the mic. So if you listen to the very earliest shows, you'll hear me just struggling to try and think of things to say and be on the mic. And Cruz has been in radio for years. So you'll notice when you listen to him, there's no dead space. Like, it just doesn't happen unless it's absolutely intentional.
Yeah.
Like, he will just start talking. You never know what he's going to say because he doesn't either. He's just taking up space. And I had to learn to really interrupt him a lot to even be able to talk. And we got a flow now, but it was a fun struggle at the beginning.
I mean, when we first started doing Drink of Ages, we were right on the radio. They gave us a radio show with no experience whatsoever.
Fantastic.
And
like, I have an idea.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. I had an idea, and they're like, hey, this is a great idea. Let's do it. And no experience whatsoever, but we had an old Rock 101 KLOL guy was our producer, and he was like, don't worry, guys. I'll just tell y'all what to do. You guys just talk. I'm like, I can do that.
You talk, we'll take care of the rest.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. So you poured us a Calavera. This is the Mexican lager.
Calavera. It's really a Vienna style lager, which ultimately is a Mexican style lager.
Right.
Yeah, Calavera, nice, easy, a little bit more sweetness than the pills.
I like the sugar skull on the front.
It's a good label.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got the spindle tap behind it, and it's got the skull on the front. I have to actually describe this because my friend Josh, he only listens to it. He never watches it, so he can't see the labels. I have to create a visual picture for him, and then he really thinks it's funny when I mention him on the show. So,
it's always going to throw out names of people too, because they're like, "Oh, you said my name." Yeah, we used to do like birthdays too. Like if it was a friend's birthday, but hey, I want to say happy birthday to Matt Mishler, blah blah blah, this and that, and that was fun. But then it's like, don't do that anymore.
So Mexican style beer in general has never been my favorite. It's almost always watery and bitter, but there's been a bunch of craft breweries making Mexican style lagers, especially here in Houston recently, and there's some really good ones out there.
They come with a lot more flavor. And when you're thinking like Corona or Dos Equis, Pacifico, stuff like that, I mean, those beers are great when you're sitting on the beach in Mexico. They can't beat them. But that's not really what I want to drink all day long.
We have a strict policy of not harming salt or lime on this show.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you start approaching my beer with either of those things, then there's an inherent problem with the beer or the person approaching it.
Yeah, I would prefer not to have that, even in my Dos Equis. But it also works very well like if in a michelada. I mean, there's a lot of lime, there's a lot of salt, a lot of hot sauce and everything when in a michelada, and I'll drink those all day long.
Oh, I don't know that I've ever actually had a michelada.
Oh, man, that's just...
I know that if one of the macro brews makes one in a can...
not the same.
I bet not.
I've never even tried it, so I'm not going to sit there and say it's terrible, but I just don't see how it could be good.
Speaking of macro brews putting stuff in a can, Miller Lite has come out with Beernaments. You can buy a 6-pack of Beernaments, drinkable ornaments to hang up on the Christmas tree. I don't know how they keep them cold unless your Christmas tree is outside and you're not in Houston.
Yeah. Love this Christmas weather that we're having.
Yeah. I'm wearing shorts today. I wasn't sure what to wear, so I looked on my weather app on here. It says 77 degrees. I was like, okay, shorts it is.
It's got to get down to like in the low 40s, and I might consider putting on pants.
On USA Today, it says if regular ornaments are too boring to hang on a Christmas tree this year, Miller Lite is selling mini beer-sized ornaments to spruce up your holidays. Spruce up, see what they did? To spruce up your holiday season. Beernaments. The beer company is getting in the holiday spirit by offering a 6-pack of Beernaments for only $20. So a way to pay more for Bud Light.
Way to pay more for less.
Or, I'm sorry, Miller Lite. They're kind of the same to me. So, and not only that, but they're 8 ounces, right? So the the ornaments feature a Miller Lite logo and can wrap around an 8-ounce Miller Lite can, which, of course, are super easy to find. I never see those.
Yeah,
I mean, like my HEB right by my house has just doors and doors dedicated to Miller Lite, and I'd say Miller products, but it's not. It's literally just Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
And I never
it
see
comes
that.
in like 84 different formats. So, and apparently 8-ounce cans as well.
Well, and not only that, though. When's the last time you reached for a beer and you thought to yourself, "I'll take a smaller one"?
Yeah.
That doesn't even jive with me.
It doesn't jive with anything. Like even the small Coca-Colas, the small little cans. My wife brought a bunch of those home. I'm like, what are we doing with this?
I feel like a giant when I'm holding one of those.
Yeah, it's like, okay, one of these will go in a cup with some bourbon, and then I'll open up another one shortly after.
Right. It's almost just enough.
It's just about perfect.
So you crack them, you drink them, and hang them with your friends. Comedian Johnnie Olang said in a commercial for the product. Uh-oh, I just got away from there. Let's see here. Yeah, that's about all that's interesting about that. Miller Lite partnered with Yang to explain the holiday drinkable decor that unfortunately does not come with the... So you pay $20 for these beer-naments, and it doesn't come with the 8-ounce beers. That's just stingy.
Oh, that's right. That's what it said, right? So you have to buy the beer, drink the beer, and then...
You have to find 8-ounce Miller Lite cans. You have to pay $20 for 6 of these ornaments that fit the cans. Mm-hmm. Then you have to put them all together, and then you hang them on the tree, and they don't stay cold.
Well,
it doesn't say they're thermal. I don't know what to say.
I'm sure they sold like $2 million worth of them so far.
You know, I've often gone on rants, and I'm about to do that right now. Is macro brew in general, they don't even bother trying to sell their beer anymore. They just sell the packaging with cold activated cans and vortex bottles and things like that, which absolutely ridiculous. There was one. Who was it that had the 12-pack that had enough room in it to where you just open the 12-pack and stick ice in the 12-pack itself? Remember that one?
I remember that. I mean, not a bad idea.
It's an idea, yeah.
Yeah, it's an idea. But I don't know. Apparently, you can make a cowboy hat out of these 12-pack boxes. I'm waiting for somebody to print that on one of those.
I've seen people wear 12-pack boxes before.
Yeah.
that has happened.
You know, the big ones, Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, you know, the best thing, maybe not Coors, because Coors is a little more serious, but like Bud Light, Miller Light, the best thing of those guys is their commercials.
Agreed. One of the Genius commercials, and I say that one of them was it Bud Light or Miller Light was one of them, but did the Real Men of Genius series.
Yeah, those were
There
great.
was some pretty funny ones on there.
Yep.
And the most interesting guy in the world, those were pretty funny ones too.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, when that's the reason you like the beer, do you? So I know so many people that, and there's a lot of people out there that are like this. They have one beer that they drink, and that's all they ever drink. Like, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, but that's like a generation above us. You know, it was like my dad's generation. They're like, well, that's what I've drank since 1942 or whatever. And that's their beer.
Good enough.
Yeah.
I try to put it in food perspective or even everyday other drinking perspective. Like, I like iced tea. Mm-hmm. Unsweetened iced tea is a drink that I usually have at least once a day. Yep. But then I want other stuff. I like flavor. You know, I sometimes switch up the iced tea with, beer or other stuff. But I just can't imagine the same thing over and over and over and over again. Every time I go have a beer, I just have the exact same beer. Like, I would get totally sick of it.
Yeah. I mean, I drink a lot of beers, all different kinds. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just also like a mindset too. You know, it's just like right now we have more everything of anything that there's ever been in the history of mankind.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much choice there is.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago where there really wasn't choice, and they made it to where I guess you felt like you were part of a team if you chose one side. Or you chose something specific. So I don't know. Maybe there's probably some psychology involved in all that.
There's that great bully campaign where if you drink something with flavor, you get made fun of, dilly and all that.
Yeah. That's the goat milk IPA or whatever that commercial was. It made me laugh. It's
just absolutely ridiculous. And you know what's funny is those macro brew companies own a lot of macro craft is what I call them now. Mm-hmm. The craft beers that. Thank you, sir. What are we drinking this time?
This is our winter IPA seasonal Frostbite.
A winter IPA. Now that's an interesting thing.
7%. This is what we put out this time of year.
It smells interesting. It's hoppy like an IPA, but it also has like a little spiciness, like a little baking spice kind of thing going on in there.
It's just another. Smell Tap's really well known for the IPAs, and so that's why it was cool. That it was like, hey, let's make some light beers. Let's make some lagers.
I found a brewery that doesn't make an IPA.
Really?
Yeah, Klaus.
Yeah, but they don't need to. They make really good beers.
They do.
Yeah.
But I'm just so amazed that I found a brewery that doesn't make an IPA. IPA is not my absolute favorite style of beer, if you can't tell. I do like them. And I think Spindle Tap is literally tops for making IPA in the city. Because all of them are good. They're all well balanced and they're all fantastic. But finding a brewery that doesn't make an IPA is pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, it is. But when you go to Klaus, all their beers that I've ever had from them are fantastic.
Yes.
So it's a yeah.
Yes, and they're all like
very
very German styles. It's a fun little place. I've stopped by there once with my wife. This is good. This is nice and it's lighter in flavor overall. Not lighter in flavor meaning like it doesn't have flavor, but I mean like it has a lighter, brighter flavor.
Yeah.
And it's almost immediately gone. Mm-hmm. Like the aftertaste makes you just want a little bit more.
Well, that's usually what happens.
Cruz would gush about this one. I'm gonna have to tell him about that. That's a funny one. We got comments. Bruce Stark says, "My cigar shirts. I've been mentioning them, I believe. I don't know where the T comes from." He says, "Where did the T come from?" I don't know what that means.
You said my cigar shirt, mycigartshirts.com, and it's my cigar shirts.
Oh, that's my mistake. See, so we have a few people that comment on here.
Yes.
We have OnStark, which is Bruce Stark, and he's if we have information that we need him, and we have Wiki Brian, who also like those guys will correct us in a minute and or find information when we're lacking.
That's always nice, right?
Yeah, they're like jewels for the show here.
Yeah.
So we like reading the comments on there. So how long has Drink of Ages been going on now?
We started in 2013.
So
February
you guys been going on
2013.
for a while. You guys were early into it here in Houston.
Yeah, there weren't very many breweries to have on the show, but the good thing was that we had all the breweries that wanted to come to Texas and start distributing in Houston. Mm-hmm. So you were discussing Bell's. Had Larry Bell on the show a few times.
Nice.
Stone Brewery. Mm-hmm. We had all these different ones. Sierra Nevada. You had Odell's. All these people on the show in the early days, which was great.
All fantastic breweries you just named, by the way.
Yeah.
Odell's at 90 Shilling is really, really something.
Man, their location up there in Fort Collins, it's a beautiful place.
Nice.
And I don't know, it's just just fun people that's been in the industry for a long time, and like their perspective of how it's been and where it's going is always just really fun to really dig deep into.
So how did you get started with your radio program? Because you guys are available not only on podcasts, but you're available on radio.
Yeah. We're on ESPN 97.5 Friday nights, and then apparently throughout they play it on the other 92 whatever.
Yeah, I'll hear spots from it occasionally. You guys do little spots once in a while, and I'll hear them on different stations.
Yeah. So I think they just fill in some time slots with it. But no, we weren't always on 97.5. We started on News 92, and we had a homebrew shop in Humble. Me and a friend of mine, and I just called 7:40 a.m. to see about advertising, and started talking to a guy there. His name was Doug Pike. He does like fishing and golfing shows on the weekend.
Nice.
And in one of the conversations, I mentioned it'd be fun to do a show. Yeah, he goes, "What would you do a show about?" I was like, "Beer and music."
Yeah.
Houston has some great breweries, and definitely underrated for the bands that are coming out of Houston. And he was like, "Man, that's a good idea." And apparently he talked to some people. Next thing I know, I'm sitting up at Clear Channel at the time, and in a room full of people, and they're wanting to put a contract down. And it's just like, well, hold on, my buddy. He's like, "Man, we should have somebody look at this first before we sign anything."
Maybe.
And he had a friend that worked for News 92.
Okay.
So he's like, "What do you guys want to do? Beer and radio, beer music show?" He's like, "We should do it here." I'm like, "Okay, we'll do it here."
Sold.
And that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. And you guys been doing this so you've covered like so many breweries since then, I'm sure. What's one of your favorites to come on the show? Who's entertaining?
Man, it depends on how you're feeling, because Some are a little more serious, so you have a really great conversation about just industry, and then get off topic quite a bit. I end up falling off mostly, and then they bring us back in. But when you talk to like Brock, St. Arnold, always a great guy to have on. He throw some jokes in there. He's about 70% business and everything, so it's just a good guy to have on and talk to. But then you have someone like Ben Full of Love from Brash that just I got to walk out of the room because I'm laughing so hard. Okay. This first of all, 3/4 of what we just talked about can't even air on ESPN.
This is going to be heavily edited.
Yes, yeah.
So fortunately, we don't have those restraints here today.
That part is good because
say what you want.
Yeah, well, I've trained myself to. There was a few times that they'd call me up and they'd be like, "Hey man, we were listening and you guys were joking around and it was really funny and all and it was good content and everything, but." We like to push the envelope. I'm like, what happened?
Which envelope did we push?
Yeah, quit making dick jokes. I was like, all right, fine.
But that's kind of anytime you get a group of guys together, somebody's going to make a dick joke. It's just going to happen.
It happens.
Guys are kind of basic like that, I think.
Yeah, no, but
awesome.
We did a show from Maui Brewing Company over the summer with Garrett Moreno, the owner there. We're in Maui doing the show, sitting outside with him. The dude's cool as can be.
That sounds amazing.
So it's that is an epic show. One definitely to remember.
So we've had a few guests and or moments on the show. Like Dave Pickerel being on the show was unbelievable. He is so passionate, and that whole show is fun. It's fun to rewatch even. But he was. One of those guys that you get on the show that's just so passionate about what he does and so knowledgeable and just drenched in the whole culture of it, and a large part of the culture of it. So he was a lot of fun. We also got invited to the Aladino farm and factory in Honduras, and that was an amazing trip. But that's like your Maui trip. This is very epic, kind of like you're going out. We came back with tons of video and all kinds of stuff. That was such a great time. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We are right at our stopping time, so we're going to take a super quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more on Smokin and Toastin.
Smokin and Toastin.
Awesome. Oh, we got Trey Boring watching. Awesome. Hi, Trey. Welcome back, all you beautiful people. We are Smokin and Toastin, brought to you by MyCigarShirts.com, not MyCigarT-shirts.com. Apparently, I misspoke and got talked down to about it.
Corrected.
I got corrected on the comments. Thank you, OnStark. That's pretty funny, actually. So MyCigarShirts.com, because cigars. All right, so we are here with John Denman. We're having a good time today. I've got a beer that I've been just dying to try. It's been in my fridge for a few weeks now, and this is the Bell's Batch 10,000 Ale. The last of a series, Batch 10,000 Ale, looks back to our homebrewed roots. After combing through catalogs of many, many malt and hop suppliers, our brewers used over 100 different malts, grains, and other fermentables and followed them up with a blend of 60 different hop varietals between the kettle additions and dry hopping. Pardon me. The resulting beer presents a deep chocolate brown hue and offers roasted and caramel notes from the malts mixed with an assertive hop character, sharply bitter. The beer possesses a full mouthfeel without being heavy, and will withstand aging in your cellar if you prefer. Awesome.
It kind of sounds like that they went to the storage and they looked at all the hops and extra grains that they had. And
what do we got left?
Let's just make something.
Let's have a little fun.
What's the most hops?
This is
different
like
hops
this is like the
ever
hash.
Put in a beer.
This is like the hash of beer, right?
Yeah.
Got to get the sound effect.
Yeah, that's one of the best sounds. There's a few sounds that everybody knows what it is, and can bottles opening and shotguns. Everybody recognizes those.
I got a great. It's an old Stevens side with the breakover action and like a barrel. It's like this is absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
but it looks so absolute ridiculous when you break it over and you drop your drop your shells in. Ka-chunk.
Check. Yep.
Like that's a sound like that, and the pump action, like that's a sound that just
you know what
it
that
anywhere.
is. Yeah, and depending on where you are, that usually means like run. Like most places.
Yeah, if you're not expecting that sound and you hear it somewhere around you, that's cause for alarm.
Duck and cover.
So I'm getting a lot of like caramel notes, a little bit of vanilla, and kind of a deep raisiny kind of thing going on. I'm interested to see what you think. I'm waiting for you to go, everything you just said was BS.
I don't get any of that. I'm just joking. It's definitely raisiny. I get a lot of that.
Like it's not very it's not very carbonated as well. The head on this is almost completely gone immediately.
Oh well, they described it pretty well.
They did. It's like if you took a barley wine and added some hops and watered it down a little bit, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, it's a lot of confusing flavors that go across this one because all of a sudden there was like toffee, then there was coffee, and then there was a bitterness, and then there's some chocolate.
It is confusing. I agree. I agree with that term. It's confusing.
There's like a lingering right in the back of the tongue of this bitterness.
Burnt caramel.
Yeah.
It's like burnt caramel bitterness, like the creme brulee, but a little too burnt. It's interesting.
I don't hate it. I can say that.
It's got a Cruz would complain because it's got a little bit of floaties going on in there too, which that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it's all good for you.
I have had some beers where the floaties are almost distracting though.
There's been some that we poured. You know, everybody makes some crazy beers, right? And I'm all for make whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as people like it and it's good, make it. But I poured some cans, and it almost looks like somebody vomited what they just drank. And it doesn't look good, right? It's just not a look.
This is the description on here. What they said is deep chocolate brown hue, roasted caramel notes. I would say burnt caramel notes actually. It goes a little beyond roasted. From the malts mixed with an assertive hop character. Definitely has that. Sharply bitter. This is It also has, and the more I drink it, the more it has that ESB kind of quality of the bitters. It's not.
It's that dry bitterness.
Yeah, it's a dry bitterness that's not, on the finish of the beer really so much, but it leaves that aftertaste. So that's a hard one to pin down.
Yeah,
I do like ESBs.
I don't mind them, not at all. But
it's kind of like maybe that's what it is. If you put a barley wine and then hopped it, and then added some ESB and some coffee grinds.
Maybe throw some oak in there just for fun. I mean,
there's an astringency to the aftertaste too, isn't there?
It's
like,
you ever chewed on like a piece of wood?
Yes.
That's kind of what it's like.
I believe though you should say chaw on a piece of wood.
There you go. Yeah, that's better.
If you're chewing on a piece of wood, you're in the country, right?
Yeah. Now, Bell's, fantastic brewery. Congrats to Larry and the whole gang up there. I mean, recently sold it.
I heard about that, yes.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
No.
You know, he's done well. Built up this brand.
That's what you do, yeah.
Yeah, employed a bunch of people.
This is not my favorite Bell's. I love a lot of things Bell's, but this is not my favorite Bell's.
Nah, definitely not. Two-hearted. Two-hearted all day long.
Amber ale is so good. There's and they've had the brown ale. Bell's brown ale is fantastic. The Kalamazoo Stout.
Mm-hmm.
Not my flavor profile on that.
Well, the same as like Oberon. Like people.
Oberon is actually, I think, really good.
I mean, it's good, but like they shut down the city and people take off of work for like Oberon Day. Yeah, I don't know if they still do, but they used to, right?
Remember when Real Ale used to do the coffee porter festivals?
Yeah,
those were fun.
Yeah. Real Ale though, I mean they're. I mean, I'd hate to say they're like an underrated brewery in Texas, but man, I don't think they get the love that they really need. Their beers are pretty phenomenal,
and especially when you can buy their Scotch ale for $5 for a bomber, and it's fantastic. The Real Heavy is just, man, that's a great beer. And when you're going to say, "Hey, I'm having one beer tonight," that's a good place to go.
That's not a bad place to be.
I'm a big fan of a lot of Real Ale stuff as well. Let me just go ahead and put this down. I like beer.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's good. Yeah. As long as it's good, right? I mean, it could be right down the middle of the style, and the guidelines to the style and everything. And as long as you drink it, there's no imperfections. Like that's a good beer.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we've gotten accused on the show of liking too many things, but the truth is, the show is all about stuff that we like.
That's it, right? I mean,
and then you
want to bring stuff that that you like, or if you haven't tried it. I mean, I'm sure if you drank something, you're like, man, that's just terrible.
Right, and then generally speaking, we bring these products from our house, or we buy these products a lot of times. I mean, occasionally we have the luck of having a guest on that brings a ton of awesome beers, but most of the time we're buying it, and I'm just not going to go to the store and go, I don't think I'm going to like that, so I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Right.
Just to bring it on the show. That's not happening.
All right, so far, not many people like this. I think I might. Right. This might be my next favorite beer.
All right, that's a wrap for this segment. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. We will be back, and coming up soon, we will have what to do when you're locked in a bar. We will have Johnnie Walker Double Black coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are once again with the Smokin Toastin podcast and radio program, brought to you by MyCigarShirts.com. Snarky cigar sayings on shirts and hoodies for all cigar lovers. MyCigarShirts.com, because cigars. So coming up here, we're going to try a little bit of a Johnnie Walker Double Black. This was a gift from a friend of mine, actually. I forgot to put it on Mr. Twirligig, so you guys probably didn't get to see anything. But this was a gift from a buddy of mine, Mark, that came over, and we were working on his pedal board for his guitar setup. And he brought whiskey over and decided to try it. So we're going to pour a little bit of that here in just a moment. But I want to get to the comments for just a moment, okay? First off, BS. When I said BS earlier, Bruce Stark did mention that's his initials. Also, it was pointed out that we have not been giving Adam tastes of the beer. We need to catch up on that.
I read that, and I passed them all over.
You immediately did.
Yes, that was
good. Good call, Bruce. Good call. If we don't keep him drinking, he's going to start asking for a raise.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of studios, and some of them are like, hey, beer's rock and roll, but a lot of them are like, keep them away from everything important.
Well, this studio probably just smells like beer by this point. We're the only podcast in here that does beer and whiskey, but it probably just smells like an old bar when you walk in. All right.
I wonder why it was so nice.
So while I'm pouring this, you did bring some cigars. So you are a cigar smoker, I take it.
I'm not going to call myself a cigar smoker. No, I do enjoy cigars. And I love the smell of them, and if my neighbor, he loves cigars, so we'll go sit on his back porch every once in a while, smoke some cigars, and drink some whiskey or something. But I'm not a connoisseur of cigars whatsoever. But these,
the
Cabals, yeah. So, buddy, he's the one that has these produced and does all this stuff. He goes down to Dominican, talks to them, and he supports my golf tournament that I put on. And so I sell these at my golf tournament.
Okay, so you're getting more interesting here. So you have a golf tournament on top of everything else?
I do, yeah. We did our 6th year. For some reason, I like to name things, stuff that's just ridiculous and dumb.
Okay, go ahead.
So this one was called the Houston Open Brewery and Keg Classic.
Nice.
It is a charity golf tournament. We raise money for Pints for Prostates, and it's a great organization that you find them. I met them first at Great American Beer Fest, and they also put on one of the best beer fests that I've ever been to, called the Denver Rare Beer Tasting.
Oh, nice.
And so just a phenomenal organization, but they do blood testing at beer events, like they screen for prostate cancer, blood tests, and so they'll send you your results. And I don't, Tom, I know some people that's suffered and had to go through all the prostate cancer stuff. And so I was like, man, what can we do for kind of men's health? Because everything, not that women's health doesn't need it, but there's just not that much out there for
There's
men's
less
health.
out there for men's health. Men, I think, in general, are just less willing to admit that they need any help.
Well, that
A lot of
part's,
times.
yeah. My wife's like, when are you going to the doctor? Doctor? What are you talking
Doctor?
about? Thistle Hill. But
You're missing an arm.
yeah, a little pop back in place.
Flesh wound.
And so it's decided, I was like, man, it'd be fun to do a golf tournament. And
Yeah.
did the first one. I have a lot of breweries that get involved every year, and every year it sells out. This last year, we had 21 breweries out there on the golf course, and we had a company.
Did you say 21 breweries?
21
out there?
breweries.
That's fantastic.
It's a beer festival on a golf course.
Nice.
Is what it is. So there is some golf that gets played, but at the end of the day, it's just people just want to come out, support, have a good time, and we do it at Wildcat, which is a wonderful golf course here in Houston. So far, we haven't. Other than the first one got out of control. Things happened. And yeah,
things that we don't talk about.
Yeah, things that we don't talk about. But since then, we moved it to Wildcat, and all the golf carts come back in one piece. There's no fires. Just no ambulances. So it works out.
I've played golf twice in my life.
Yeah,
I had fun both times. I don't remember the golf part of it.
yeah, it's usually how it goes.
The last time I played once when I was a kid, and I had a friend of mine whose dad was into golf, so I went to the range with them and just did what kids did and we goofed around. But the last time was a friend of mine wanted to have his birthday was to go play golf, and I was like, okay. So I went into Pro Shop and they're like, okay, you need clubs. I said, I need 2 clubs.
Yeah,
I need something that hits far and something that doesn't. So I ended up, I think, with what did I get, a putter and a 9-iron, and I was like, that's all I needed.
in all honesty,
I was happy.
Yeah, most people could probably go out there with a putter, 9-iron, and shoot par. But when you throw in all the other clubs and make you think about what you really need to do, like what club do I need to hit with and how do I need to swing it, it just throws the whole game off.
Yeah, no, I mean, the problem I have too is much like a lot of sports that involve a stick and a ball. Is I just try to whack it as far as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just more fun.
Swing hard. Swing hard.
But I did have a lot of fun. So I never quite got into golf. Have you been into golf very long?
I have, yeah. And
Is this something like you grew up doing?
nope, not at all. It was after high school. My boss at the time was like, come on, Denman, let's go play golf. I'm like, I never played. He goes, I'll teach you. I'm like, all right. So he went out there and he played old man golf, where barely any backswing, just poke it like 150 yards down the middle of the fairway every time. And he's like, no, man, you need to swing. So I started swinging and making contact. And it's like, man, this is a lot of fun. And so we started playing a whole lot. And golf is one of those strange things that I played golf for 20 years. And there were times in my life where I shot a lower score than I do now. Even though I've played longer and I'm better at golf now than I've ever been. But there was times that my game, I don't know, just whatever reason, you play against yourself, so I guess that's why I like it so much.
Right. There's a satisfying, like, in just the few times that I played golf, there's a satisfying thwack when you nail that ball.
Well, it's one of those, you can have a really bad game of golf and go out there and just all over the place, losing balls in the water, in the woods, and then all of a sudden you hit a really good drive on the 18th, you're like, yep, I'm coming back. I could be pro.
Plus, you can smoke cigars while you play golf.
You can do a lot of things while you play golf. That's the fun part about it.
And smoke cigars.
Yes.
It's like a longer game of darts.
Yeah, and sort of like darts, there's a balance. After so many beers, all of a sudden things come together, and it works really well for a short period of time, and then it quickly falls off.
And then it's over, yes.
Yeah, then it quickly, drastically falls off.
Trails off. What do you think of this Johnnie Walker Double Black?
This is...
I'm interested.
Oh, man, it's smooth. It is really, really smooth.
Smooth.
Yeah,
So this is smoky. Like, it is about as smoky as a Johnnie Walker ever gets. So, are you familiar with Johnnie Walker Black?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you, like have drank it a bunch?
No, I have not.
Yeah. Johnnie Walker Black, I think, is drinkable. it's a blended whiskey, and it's blended Scotch, and it's quite drinkable, and it's nice, and it's great when you're using it for mixers and things like that. Johnnie Walker Red is not good.
No.
Johnnie Walker Red is we don't talk about it. It's like the third Godfather movie. We just don't talk
just
about
don't mention it.
Yeah, it doesn't really exist. Johnnie Walker Double Black is the rebellious younger sibling of Johnnie Walker Black Label with a deep brooding intensity to its sibling of Johnnie Walker Black Label, but youthful, spikier, and more rebellious. So I don't know how I call it spiky. It's actually oddly smooth, as you said.
It is, yeah. And, I'm not a big Scotch fan. I tried. And I had a boss that was like, no, you need to start drinking scotches. So he tried and introduced me to a lot of what he said was really good scotches, but it was just that peat that was like too much. And it did like I drank one, but it didn't make me want another one.
You need to try Talisker.
Well, so we were doing a show from House of Blues for a good, I don't know how many months, and across from that's Reserve 101.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were like, all right, try this one. And I'm like, man, that's really good.
Yeah.
You do like Scotch. I'm like, damn it, you got me.
Well, yeah, and Scotch is one of those funny things because everyone's like, oh, it's so peaty or it's so smoky or so whatever, but there are Scotches that aren't. There's 5 different regions, and they're all very different from each other. That being said, I do have a peaty section to my whiskey collection, and it's got things like Ardbeg and 2 different Lafragues and a Kilchoman and a Oshichan, and I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Some of those are hard to say.
Yeah.
But that is a very peaty shelf, so I always tell people when they come over, I'm like, you might want to smell that first before you pour some.
Yeah, I've been given some really, but people are like, this is a wonderful bottle of Scotch. I'm like, all right, and I'll try it. I'm like,
this is just not doing it for you.
So I just bring it to people's houses. Let them enjoy it.
Do you have a liquor that you particularly, like you mentioned earlier, you were drinking gin and what was it, gin and tonics?
Gin and tonics, yeah. Gin was another one that I just was not a fan of at all. Yeah, because I just didn't like it. And we had some friends in the neighborhood start going to their house, and they'd make all these crazy cocktails and everything. And he broke out a bottle of Bombay.
Yeah.
And just made some gin and tonics out of it. I'm like, this is one of the most refreshing, lovely things I've ever had in my life.
Bombay's quite good.
Yeah, and so from there, we started drinking different gins and everything. And it's like, man, I think I like gin.
One of my go-tos is Citadel. That one's a particularly good one at a great price. So, because gins can get oddly expensive too, but they don't have to be good.
Yeah, they really don't. And gin's banned at my house. So
it got to that level.
Well, when I went through that phase, and I don't know, it was a fun phase, but apparently my wife didn't think it was as much fun.
I went through a Red Bull and vodka phase, and that was interesting.
That's a combo right there. That's a bring you up and set you down.
Ooh, it's that's a confusing hangover. That's
all these
not
people
good.
wanted to do like Delta 8 coffees and all this like speed with weed, and it's like whoa, just one at a time. Just slow down.
I think this double black it makes me actually pretty happy because it's super smoky, but it's also super malty and round.
Yeah, but it's not like you're sitting there chewing on firewood,
no,
right? Or like you're just sitting at a campfire.
No, and it's not a fake like liquid smoke added flavor kind of thing either. So I think they really hit a nice spot with this particular whiskey, and I'm very glad that I have it. Also, the bottle is dark and mysterious, which is nice.
The bottle's getting kind of low.
Yeah, I've been beating it up a little bit.
I don't blame you. This is really good.
I would like to say that what I generally do is open the bottle so there's no whiskey opening injuries, and then clear the neck so that there's no spillage. Mm-hmm. But I went a little further than that on this one.
You cleared the body.
I cleared the body, yeah. Nicely put. So on the Johnnie Walker website, it says smell delicious, sweet smoke and spicy aromas. That's ambiguous. The taste, rich peat with dried fruits and creamy vanilla. The peat comes across incredibly smoky and less Band-Aid than you would think. Or medicinal. Some people call it medicinal. Some people call it Band-Aid.
Yeah.
It's kind of both. I get it, but I like it personally. The finish, powerful, long, warming finish. That is a way of saying it lingers a lot. Which is why we have this 1980 to clear our palates, because
it's a
we won't be
good
able
thing to
to taste
clear
it.
palates.
That 1980 now tastes rich and peaty.
Yeah, whatever. You drink a 1980 after this, it doesn't taste like 1980.
No. Have you ever had a candy bar and then had a soda? Like it just tastes like Topo Chico at that point.
Yeah. Just ruins it. The sweetness is all gone.
Kind of does. It kind of does that. We're gonna take I think a short break right now. We got 2 more segments coming up, and drinking news will be coming up pretty soon. What to do when you're locked in a bar. Wiki Brian said, "No grapes, he's gone Scotch. The show may never get out of the Scotch." Welcome back, all you beautiful people, to the podcast. It's all about hand-rolled cigars, fine spirits, and this wonderful craft beer. What else you got in there, by the way?
Well, there's actually depends on which direction we want to go.
Let's go somewhere fun, because this is going to be a fun segment, because we got drinking news coming up. By the way, we're brought to you by mycigarshirts.com, mycigarshirts.com, because cigars, oh my goodness. You got something called Sticky Fingers. You got something
Doppelbock,
called Cosmic
Velociraptor.
Clouds. I love that it's called Velociraptor. A coconut chai. You came armed with
Aceto
beer.
Crudo, which scored one of the high. It was the highest rated beer, non-barrel aged stout in America by a leading beer magazine. I'm drawing a blank right now, but and then some El Hugo.
El Hugo.
Yep. So
Strawberry and pink guava, juiced up seltzer.
We made a seltzer, but there's a lot of fruit in it.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I kind of want to try that just for the fact that I don't generally like
I'm with
seltzers.
You. Yeah, because
of that nasty artificial aftertaste.
Exactly.
Oh God, it's just gross. I don't know how people deal with that.
We did a show. This week's show, we record ours normally on Tuesdays, and it airs Friday on ESPN. And so this week we're up in Conroe at Foss, the new brewery that just opened up like 7 weeks ago.
Nice.
Really good beers, traditional styles and all that. Like just great beers. But they had a seltzer smoothie, but it wasn't like thick like this. But it was really, really good. I was like, man, I could drink this all day long.
Awesome. While you're pouring that, I would like to also. So, how do people get a hold of Drink of Age? You guys have a website, I'm sure.
Drinkofages.com.
Awesome.
Nice
and then,
easy. If you just do a search for Drink of Ages, you will find this pretty face all over the internet.
This
yeah,
this looks like V8.
This is your morning smoothie, right?
It definitely looks like a smoothie. Like that's absolutely crazy. Like when you poured it out of there, it had the consistency of old milk.
Yeah, you're not far off.
like this, instead of like chunky beers, this might be actually lumpy.
I'm kind of saying it's more, instead of saying chunky milk, it's more like kind of like a almost melted daiquiri. Because rum honestly would be really good in this thing.
Right, I bet. I haven't tried it yet. It smells like fruit. It just smells like a smoothie, actually. It doesn't have any distinctive, other than the fruit smells. It doesn't have any.
It's definitely a different seltzer.
Oh, it's not over carbonated. It just dances a little bit on the tongue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not super sweet.
It is a big mouthfeel.
It is definitely. It's would you say chewy?
If you say, I just want to show the camera this. I'm going to pour just a little bit because I want them to see what this does. Like that just comes out like syrup almost.
Sick.
Wow, that is. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. I actually kind of like this.
It's one that. Yeah, I'm not
it's like a
around
meal,
and have a bunch of them. But
this is like if you ever go to Smoothie King.
Yes, yeah.
And this is like the angel food without all the banana.
Yeah, a nice.
And then it's all melted.
7%.
And it's 7%.
Yeah, 7%.
Like that's a win in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? This is the first one that like heavily fruited sour or seltzer that Spindle Tap has made, and it's like, it's definitely a little bit of tweaking, but it's like, man, this is not bad.
It does not have that gross artificial sweetener aftertaste at all. At all. Like this is quite drinkable just for that fact alone.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's what it, I was like, all right. Do I want to drink a bunch of them? Not, unless I'm sitting in the pool.
Fill you up,
or something. Yeah, right. But it's kind of like how many margaritas do you drink? Well, some people a lot. So it's kind of. But me, frozen margaritas, not so much. But
I mean, I feel like I just had a serving of fruit.
Well, you got your vitamins for the day.
Like that's pretty funny. This is El Hugo. Is that what you call it?
El Hugo.
Hugo. From Spindle Tap. So interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but I don't know. It's between all the IPAs, having this in the top. Well, first it was in the tap room, and now it's in cans. But
now it's in cans.
Yeah, and then all the lighter beers, and then the stouts. Like I said, the Cruda was an amazing stout. The coconut chocolate cherry pastry stout. First one we made, and it's got a lot. It's got exactly that coconut chocolate cherry.
It's got so many syllables. I have to try it.
Yeah, you want to do that one next?
Like when you add that many syllables to a stout, I mean it's worth trying, right?
I think so.
All right, while you're pouring that, I'm going to go ahead and bring us into our section that we like to call drinking news.
Oh, I already forgot.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said, I had to take my gator.
I had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Cheers, y'all.
Is that beers are also always, my memory lasts like about 15 seconds. So
that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Lock in. This is an article I found. My wife actually found this and sent it to me. Lock in. Dozens stuck in England's highest pub after the storm. I want to show the picture of this place. Look at this epic inn that they're talking about here. You can maximize that screen at some point in time if you'd like. So the story goes, dozens of customers who stopped for a drink at Britain's highest altitude pub got a longer stay than they bargained for after the building was cut off by a blizzard. 61 people woke up Monday after their third night at Tan Hill Inn in the Yorkshire Dales, 270 miles north of London. They have been unable to leave since Friday.
Oh, wow.
When a late autumn storm brought snow and heavy winds that felled power cables and blocked roads. The pub sits 1,732 feet above sea level and is used to being cut off by bad weather. Manager Nicola Townsend said the staff has organized movies, a quiz night, and karaoke for stranded guests. They also have been entertained by an Oasis cover band called Noasis.
Oh, no. For how long? Because that almost sounds like torture.
They've been entertained. That's a judicious use of that word. By an Oasis cover band, Noasis, who have also been stuck at the pub since their gig on Friday night. Townsend says the guests were in really good spirits. They formed quite a friendship, like a big family is the best way I can describe it. She says one lady actually said, "I don't want to leave." Well, somebody likes the party.
Somebody's enjoying it a lot.
Townsend said she hoped people will be able to head home later Monday once the roads have been cleared.
And their tabs are closed.
You imagine what a 3-day tab, 6-day tab, whatever it is.
Oh, man.
And there you have it. That is our drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. And cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
So the drinking news song, we've been doing drinking news for a little while now. But I debuted the drinking news song during one of our episodes. I think it was episode... What are we on right now? 260 or something like that. So it was right around 200-ish, plus or minus a few episodes. But the day that I debuted the drinking news episode might be one of the funniest drinking news ever. It's about a guy who grows a penis on his arm.
All right.
And I'll just let you go look through the archives for that one, because that was way too funny. You have poured the chocolate... There's a lot of syllables. What was it? I've got that 15 second coconut
cherry,
chocolate cherry pastry stout.
That
You
sounds
guys are like getting paid by the word for that label.
Oh man, if that's the case, then we're making money.
So, I'm assuming there's coconut, chocolate, cherry, and pastry going on in this.
That there is.
Well, the label is very simple, though. You just have a cherry on a chocolate-covered label.
Well, designing this label, it needs to be very simple, kind of sexy looking, and cherry. So we all right, let's put some coconut on it. But with the coconut shaves coming down, it didn't really look like coconut.
Didn't translate so much.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, we'll take those off.
Each one of them could have just simply said, "This is coconut."
This is coconut. Yeah, I promise this is coconut.
White coconut rain coming down on cherries. Yeah, I bet that kind of looked awkward, actually. Now that I put it together in my skull, it gets weird.
I mean, I could really further describe it if you need me to.
This toasted coconut right on the nose, big time.
A lot.
I don't actually smell the cherry. The chocolate is definitely there. Boy, the cherry comes through when you take a sip, though. Oh, wow.
Cherry comes through a lot.
The cherry comes through a lot on the finish and lingers a lot on the aftertaste. It is a dark and rich cherry kind of flavor going on.
Yep.
And it, toast. Like slightly burnt, like in kind of a good way toast.
Mm-hmm.
Going on. Yeah, a little bready kind of thing going on. This is incredibly interesting. This is a great one to share. I don't know that I could slam back a couple of these.
No.
It's a little intense.
Yeah. No, a 16-ounce can is made for, like, your family.
Right, it'll actually feed a family of 4. Mm-hmm. It's almost the same consistency as your the smoothie thing that we just had, yes.
Yeah. Definitely some viscosity, in the stouts. Thin stouts.
It really coats like the whole inside of the mouth, too.
Yeah, and then you really get the cherry.
Yeah, I mean, that cherry just keeps going on in a really good way, like in a very like cherry pit kind of aftertaste.
The idea was like the little cherry cordials, the little candies, the
little liqueur ones.
Yeah, something like that. Where you still get the sweetness and the chocolate, but you get that cherry and coconut.
Yeah, this is you could put this out and it's good, but a little bit goes a long way.
A little bit goes a long way. Yeah, there's a lot of beers I think 5-ounce pours are made for.
Yeah,
and this is one of them. Yeah,
this is one of those when you go to the bar and they give you the little tulip and it's the half pour and you go, you nailed it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes some of those beers. Now I don't agree when they do that with Meritsu because I really love that stuff. But sometimes those beers really need the smaller pour.
Well, I mean, the 16-ounce pour of Perpetual Peace, barrel-aged Perpetual Peace went down nice and easy.
Yeah, there was that.
That's not a slouchy beer.
So I brought that Perpetual Peace, but I think we're going to hold off on that one because you brought so many different things to try here that I think I'd rather get through some of the Spindle Tap breweries. This is turning into a Spindle Tap awesome show.
Yeah, I was like, I'll bring some beers. We'll talk about anything, drink anything. But
well, you're hard to get along with.
I don't like showing
up
places shorthanded. So
you certainly didn't do that this time. You certainly didn't do that. In further news, just a little article I came across. If I can close that on. Tampa just had their Cigar Festival and has been named the largest in the world. Ybor City, Florida was full of people the first week of December for the world's largest cigar festival. Thousands of people packed into Centennial Park to enjoy an array of cigars, food, music, and local clothing vendors. I've been to Ybor City. It's a lot of fun.
The whole area is pretty badass.
Have you been there before?
Yeah.
That cigar, it's so strange because you're walking into a totally different culture there. Mm-hmm. And that cigar, and seeing all the guys with their newspapers and their coffee and their cigars sitting outside of every cigar shop.
Yep.
Because every cigar shop also serves coffee.
Yeah.
Like that's just those two things are made together. It's a lot of fun. Tampa is the cigar capital of the world, says Kevin Odom. Because of what happened last year, we couldn't have it. So a lot of people gravitated towards. People just wanted to come out and have a good time. That was a weird phrased sentence.
Yeah.
The cigar business is a multi-million-dollar industry, and Tampa natives say our city has a monopoly on it. Back in the 1900s, there were over 40 different cigar factories in Ybor. We started all this, says Odom. Everyone's taste is different, and that's why we have so many different vendors out there put their heart and soul into these beautiful sticks. It's a lot of fun when you walk down the street. in Ybor City. There are so many cigar companies there, and you can just sit there and watch these rollers like go through cigar after cigar. And there are there for you to sit there and watch, but they're working a regular day of work.
Yeah.
You know, and generally speaking, in a cigar factory, quote unquote, they'll have a room full of these people doing this, but they always, I think, put like the best ones up front so you can watch them in the window and stuff that.
Aren't like Cuban cigars supposed to be rolled on the inner thigh of a Cuban lady, or isn't there something along those things?
I don't know. You know, I get a lot of. Well, I had this conversation just the other night, and I get this a lot. You know, aren't Cuban cigars the best? In the same way that German beers are the best, but then they're not anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like also Germans make bad beers. You know, I mean, when's the last time you had a Beck's?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of the Budweiser of beers, you know.
Yep.
Or of German beers, but that being said, just like anybody else, Cubans make great cigars, but they also make bad cigars.
Yeah, just like anywhere.
Just like anywhere. So I don't know about the whole rolling on the thigh.
I don't remember
thigh
where I heard that, but you know, it was that's what makes them so good. I was like, oh, whatever.
Like that's the ingredient,
that's the
right?
ingredient.
That's the one thing.
Yes.
Yes. This particular hop was picked on the east side of the village. I don't know. I can't come up with anything. Odom is a member of the Grown Ash Cigar Society. Grown Ash Cigar Society.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
I get what
I like
that. See
that.
what they're going for, right? He says groups like this help to connect him with other cigar lovers in the community, like Hamilton's. They moved to Tampa from St. Louis last year. I don't care about that. Let's see. Yeah. So apparently Tampa Cigar Festival is named the largest in the world, according to Spectrum News.
Trust those guys.
I have no idea what it is. I just pull this stuff up. I'm just a reporter, man. I'm not even a reporter. I just make stuff up sometimes. Anyway.
No, Tampa's a badass spot, though.
Yeah, Tampa's really nice.
It is a lot of fun. That whole area.
So I have a friend of mine that lives in that area, and I flew into Tampa. And me and my wife, he was out on a business trip that night. So what we did is we flew into Tampa, and then we hung around Tampa that night. And then we went to Ybor City in the morning. And when he flew in from his business trip the next night at about 8 o'clock-ish, he came and picked us up in Ybor City. So we had the whole night in Tampa. And then we went to this dive bar in Tampa that was I can't tell you what the name of it. I have no idea what the name of it is. But it was like going to Lola's here in Houston.
Oh,
it was as divey and awesome as it gets. It was perfect.
Yeah, Lola's doesn't get much divier.
No. The only thing that looks a little creepier than Lola's is Lola's during the day.
It's kind of like back in the day. I don't know. You've been around Houston for a while, but like Emos and Some.
Oh, yeah.
One time we went to go pick something up at Emo's, and we walked let's just walk into Some, and we walked in there, and it's like, that's the couch we've been sitting on. I need a shot.
Remember the fuzzy wall?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I heard.
Everything was pretty fuzzy in that place.
That place was notorious for the bums that would hang around there as well. One night we were, me and a buddy of mine were headed up there, and we had to beat up the change jar for enough money to go hang out and have beers, you know, in your 20s, right? Yeah. And, of course, they'd come up right as you're parking. Hey, we'll watch your car. Yeah, I bet you will.
I'm sure you will.
So by the time we get, like, around the corner right by Emo's, there's, like, 3 or 4 bums all talking to us, and he just reaches in his pocket and tosses down some coins, and he looks at me and goes, run!
Shit.
That place was notorious for the bums. I liked it everywhere.
Yeah. I forgot all about that. I'll watch your car, it'll be $5. What's going to happen if you don't watch my car?
What are you going to stop from happening?
Yeah. No,
it's that protection money. I won't break into your car, maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
The Emos, I don't know. We've been going there since like 18, 19 years old. Jumped a fence in the back. Mm-hmm. And as long as you walked up and walked straight to somebody, ordered a Rolling Rock, and had a beer in your hand, then you were safe all night long, right? So Lola's was kind of the same way.
Just pick up an empty and act like you've been drinking it.
That's it. And Lola's, they just really didn't care back then. Mm-hmm. And but sitting outside and all that, also like, cops are here. We're like, jump the fence.
I'd like to give a small moment, a small pause for Jaime from Lola's, who we lost actually just a few months back.
Yeah,
so miss that guy. He was a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah, a little staple over there.
Yeah, he'd been working there for years. Do you remember there was a Halloween where Rudyards dressed as Lolas and Lolas dressed as Rudyards, and they actually swapped employees?
No, man. I don't know how I missed that.
It was
That's
one of the
amazing.
most bizarre nights ever.
Swapped employees.
Yeah, they swapped employees and repainted and redecorated the inside of Rudyards and stuff. It was absolutely hilarious because I remember walking in and seeing Jaime going, "What are you doing here?" He's
funny.
like, "I work here."
No, man, I don't know how I missed that one.
It was so bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it could have been a dream, but I'm pretty sure I was there.
I mean, it sounds like something that could happen.
That would have been late 90s, maybe early 2000s, something like that. That was a very, like when one bar goes dressed as another bar for Halloween. That's just entertainment.
That is very good.
All right, we're going to take a super short break. We'll come back with our last segment, and we'll see you then. I love that little horn crescendo / decrescendo right there. Welcome back to Smokin Toastin, the podcast. It's all about hand-rolled cigars, fine spirits, and craft beer. We're all about craft beer today. We did try a fine spirit, but that fine spirit does not go well with any of these craft beers. Like, sometimes you find something that complements.
It's good little pairings, yeah, but I don't really know. I don't really see. Maybe the Doppelbock would be about the only thing that I think could go well with that.
It's really good, and I've had cigars with it as well. It's actually pretty nice. We're here with John Denman from the Drink of Ages podcast, and also from I love that sound. I have a Pavlovian response to that sound.
It's one of the best sounds in the world.
Like that is.
It's like good things are about to happen.
You notice we don't use the little red box for that sound.
No.
Every time we make that sound, we actually sacrifice a beer. Like that's how dedicated we are.
That's been sitting beside me the whole time, and I've yet to hit the button.
You haven't done this.
I have not.
I mean, that could have done a lot of things.
And all the earlier talks
news
about veiny cigars and stuff, that would have been the perfect sound.
Oh my goodness! Wiki Bryan and OnStark are on their game today. I forgot to say we are at episode. What is today's? Is it 261? 262. Yeah, I wasn't sure. So, because I remember last week, I went from last week's email that I had for the show notes, and it said 261, but I think he said it was the wrong number, and I couldn't remember which direction it was. 262 episodes of this. It's absolutely ridiculous. We also have a few running gags on the show, and Bruce put the Surgeon General, because sometimes when you pick up a beer and it has like no information about the beer, and Cruz is going, "So read to me about the beer." I'm like, "Well, it says according to the Surgeon General," and of course I read off that label.
Yeah.
So that's the running gag there. Man, thanks for showing up today with all these beers. We're about to have the Spindle Tap.
Acito Crudo.
Acito Crudo?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that name come from?
Basically, it means crude oil, is what it means.
Man, Spindle Tap does have the Spindle Tap.
You got the Derricks in there.
Derrick, yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. But this one has always been just such a really good beer. And then, like I said, recently scored like a 99 out of 100. And the only non-barrel aged stout to make the list.
That's pretty amazing. And we decided to have this one as our last beer for the show because it is literally just a style. It doesn't have a bunch of adjuncts. It doesn't have anything else. It's just a Russian Imperial Stout, straight up. Mm-hmm. Straight up part of the style, and I haven't tried this before. It smells fantastic. There's a little coffee smell going on in there.
It's just a little big. I don't know. People are like, "What's it like?" I'm like, it's
it has
big and
a
sexy.
woody kind of smell
That's
to it as well.
is.
It's really nice. The mouthfeel is perfect. It's not huge and thick like the last couple that we had, but it's big enough to be interesting. The carbonation is just barely there, and I actually like it like that. So I have no problems drinking beer that's not carved at all.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, that just weirds them out, but that doesn't bother me at all.
Well, that's what's fun about at breweries, walking around and you go drink stuff out of the ferment or out of the bright tank before it gets carbonated, and you really get to know what that beer is and what the carbonation does to the beer.
This, when you bring it to your nose, you expect it to be more coffee forward in the actual sipping of it because it has a very coffee nose to it. But then when you take a sip of it, it's actually more of a baking chocolate and like
a little more of a sweeter chocolate.
Yeah, well, it's got the bitter finish like a coffee or like a baking chocolate kind of thing. But then you have this roundness that hits the palate immediately, and it's very sweet right up front. It's very interesting. And the middle of the palate is just all those flavors blending together. It's a very well balanced.
Yeah, and then when you like breathe in after you drink it, you get that roastiness.
Yeah.
This is nice, man.
Fantastic.
This goes good with vanilla ice cream.
Oh, I bet.
Or brownie, or dipping Oreos in it.
And it's funny you say that because I have totally been known to pour beer on ice cream or whiskey. Good whiskey on an ice cream.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. So we're missing Cruz today, but I think we managed to get along without him. I want to thank you so much, John, for coming out.
Yeah, appreciate having me out. It's been a whole lot of fun. I love sharing beers and drinking beers and whiskey, scotches, whatever with people, man. It's just a good time.
Well, as someone who doesn't usually take this part of the show, I'm usually my role on this show is usually trying to figure out ways to absolutely stump Cruz. Like, I just want to say things that make him go, "What?" But now I had to play the Cruz on this show and have you made it so easy. You made it wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show and bringing all these awesome beers from Spindle Tap. I didn't know you actually worked at Spindle Tap, so this is like having the Spindle Tap guest on the show as well. I got like a 2 for today. That's amazing. I'm winning.
Yeah, it's gonna, and today's just gonna continue on, right?
Right.
Because I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna stop by Platypus. Hang out there for a minute.
Yeah.
And then the No Label Christmas party is happening. So I'm going to head over for the No Label Christmas party. And then I'll see you guys probably Saturday. Because tomorrow is going to be a break.
Tomorrow's not happening.
Tomorrow I'm sleeping in.
Now, I know there are secret brewery meetings that happen. I need to figure out how to get my foot into those.
Can't comment on anything. Those types of things of what happens
I'm just
behind
putting
closed
that out
doors.
there.
And,
I know that there are secret clandestine brewery owner meetings.
There's
brewery employee meetings. I'm just putting it out there.
I will say this. I will
put the
say
bug
this,
in your ear.
Is that the industry I was in before, it was much more competitive, and even though there was less of everybody, it was much more competitive. And then this industry, there's so much more collaboration and just people willing to help, and if you have a question, they'll answer it. And like I said, those little secret meetings and stuff, I'm not saying they exist, but there's a lot of cohesiveness between breweries around.
I love this happens and it really happens in the spirits and craft brew industry more than any other industry I've seen, where if you have a brewery and someone opens up a brewery next door, you're not upset about it. You're happy. Mm-hmm. Like, now I got somebody to talk about beers with.
Yeah.
And that's literally the attitude with every craft brewery that I've met in town. Like, everyone is so happy to talk to and help with people. I know that, like when No Label couldn't find enough cans, Eighth Wonder steps up and helps them out. And like that's the kind of camaraderie. It's absolutely amazing. Like, that is a fantastic.
No, I mean it is all fun and games until you're looking for shelf space. Then,
right?
Then
yeah, that's when it comes
shake
in.
you.
But you're never face to face for that,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you can still at the clandestine brew meetings.
Everybody gets along. No, but it really is. It's a wonderful environment to be in, and everybody's always like, "Oh yeah, of course it is," because all you do is sit around and drink beer. It's like, no, that's honestly not the case. It takes a special personality to even want to quit what they're doing and open up a brewery, because it's not like you're making money. opening up a brewery.
Yeah, no, it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a long time. So it takes a special person, and I don't know, I'm attracted to those types of people.
It takes a little while before you can afford that brand new Ford Focus.
Yeah. Brand new?
Ish.
Yeah.
Low mileage.
Brand new to me.
Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to have you on again. And thanks for bringing so many beers. Thank you, Adam, for happening on the Wheels of Steel over there, as Cruz always says. And thank you to Cruz for making the show possible in general. Thank you to mycigarshirts.com. Thanks, Mom. Okay, I'm not going to go on. We love you guys.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody. Be safe.
Cheers, y'all. Wow, that stout is fantastic.
Yeah, it's good.
That is
made it one time
fantastic.
and never changed the recipe.
Yeah.
What it is.
No, that's a nailed it.